If your leads are inconsistent, then this is the real problem. We're going to walk through in this video step by step of what actually the problem is and how you can actually fix it. Now, before we get into it, the symptoms versus the actual disease. You see, if your leads feel inconsistent, unpredictable, or actually stressful, I want to be very clear about something from the actual start. You currently probably don't even have a leads problem. You have an actual systems problem. Because after working with so many coaches and consultants and agency owners, I understood one thing, that most of them believe that inconsistency comes from not posting enough, not running ads long enough, not finding the right platform, not trying enough tactics, or not trying enough strategies, or not putting more work in, right? But inconsistency is never caused by effort actually alone. Inconsistency is caused by actual dependence because you are depending on something to get something. So when your business depends on your mood, your motivation, one channel, one tactic, one lucky spike, your leads will always feel fragile. It's like if you currently are chasing the viral video to get all the clients, then you are really depending on that one video only, and that one video is what's actually currently is keeping you stuck in your business and is keeping you away from actually opening doors to unlimited abundance of leads coming inside of your business. If you are that one person that say I'm just going to be posting currently content and playing it in the long term, then that long term also could be the reason why you're not getting leads in the short term. Okay, it all really depends on what systems and what type of inputs you're currently placing inside of your business, right? So when your business depends on your mood, motivation, one channel, one tactic, one lucky spike, your leads will always feel very fragile. So the goal of this training, of this video, is to help you to understand three things. Number one, why leads feel inconsistent. Number two, what actually breaking behind the actual scenes inside of your business. And number three, how to design a system that produces leads even when you are not pushing hard. So, why inconsistent leads feel so heavy? Number one, inconsistent leads don't just affect the actual revenue, right? They affect decision making, confidence, pricing, sales behavior, and actual mental clarity. This comes from personal experience as well. That when you have much more revenue coming in the business, your decisions are so much clearer. You can be more focused. You have more energy as well. You have more confidence, and because you have so much business coming inside of your business, you can actually start pricing much higher, which gives you much more profitability. Your sales behavior also changes from a place of not a scarcity and not desperation, because you're not anymore chasing, you start to attract, and you have much mental clarity because now you are very clear on what are the next steps you need to do in order for you to scale your business. Because once you have a lot of revenue coming in, it's much clearer because you have systems in place, you have raw data in place, and you can make decisions and alter decisions and understand what's working, what's not working. But when you don't have revenue coming in the business, and when leads are inconsistent, people start like discounting, right? They're gonna be like, hey, doing whatever they're gonna do to get somebody through the door. They will be chasing, right? Over posting, over DMing, and jumping strategies. This creates a dangerous loop, right? You go from inconsistent leads, because you start to get inconsistent leads, you become very emotional because you don't have the actual data in front of you of understanding what's working, what's not working. Then we base that all in emotional decisions, like what is the next thing we need to do. We maybe start copying somebody. We become maybe different. We trying to become different, but we're not really different because we're coming from a place of not actual data but actual emotions. Then we position ourselves even sometimes weaker in the market, and that even worsens the actual leads. You get the worst possible leads in the marketplace, and that brings us even to more inconsistency of actually getting the right leads and closing the right leads and scaling the business, right? So the problem actually starts compounding. The same as the problem compounds is the same as the solution compounds. Like once you start scaling your business, you have something that's working, you have data, you understand things, that effect is compounding and your business starts growing faster. The same when you have a problem, okay? This is why two businesses with the same skill level can feel completely different, right? One feels calm, one feels actually desperate. The difference is not in the actual talent, the difference is in the actual structure, right? Moving on. The real reason leads are inconsistent, right? So the leads become inconsistent when attention, trust, and action are not connected by an actual system. Most businesses run on random activity, not intentional flow. Like even when they're posting content, we're like, after working with so many coaches, consultants, and agency owners and helping them to scale their businesses, before I came to understanding that they're doing so much random things, same as I used to do. Like, because we don't really know what's working, we will try everything. We will try posting content, and then without even knowing what we are doing when we're posting content, we start changing like hooks, crazy. We try to do crazy things in front of the camera without really realizing and understanding like why we actually doing it. Does it actually work? And that is that the reason we are doing it, or are we just doing it just to do it, right? So examples: posting content with no qualification, running ads with no filtering, booking calls with anyone who says interested, and depending on referrals without replacing actual demand, right? This creates spikes instead of actual flow. And a spike is not an actual growth. So like, you may getting a spike of 1 month, like getting 5 clients, and the next month you get to 2 clients. That one spike is not the actual growth. You just stumbled upon success for that 1 month, and maybe that one success was the reason your business spiked up, but it's not that you have predictable, consistent flow if you cannot repeat it month in and month out. Okay, a spike is an actual luck. Systems create consistency and continuity. Okay, so the 3 core breaks causing lead inconsistency. So let's talk about number 1, channel dependence. Most people rely on one source: Instagram, referrals, ads, or cold outreach. I want to tell you something super interesting and something very important. Many years ago, I was running my business, and I was posting ads on Google. And then obviously I had good business, I had leads coming in, I had a good close rate, business was doing about 50K a month, all was going lovely. And then one night I woke up and nothing was working. I was slowly depending on Google, right? And I just got Google slapped because Google totally changed its algorithm. It changed their platform. It changed their actual policies around how the advertising runs, and they changed a lot of other things, which basically took, like, my business took a huge hit because I lost my business over one night just because I was depending on one platform. And I have heard that from many business owners is that they either have run on Facebook ads, Facebook changed the algorithm, the policies changed, and suddenly what they were doing is not working anymore, and they're not getting enough traffic, they're not feeding their funnels with enough traffic, they're not getting any calls, they're not getting any sales, and basically their business died overnight. And this is because you are depending on only one channel. When that source slows down, everything basically slows down. And when you have that one channel closes down, everything closes. It's like you are literally running your business on Instagram, and God forbid, Instagram closes down. And suddenly, over one night, you don't have an actual business anymore. Okay? So that's not a lead system, that's a single point of actual failure. A real system distributes demand across multiple touch points. Super important to know that. And also, because when you're trying to get more leads, and let's say you're even posting content, because currently I'm at the place where I'm building out a complete YouTube channel, complete value providing content for my audience, because I feel like brand is super important when you are building your business. And one thing that I'm currently doing, I'm also diversifying. I want to diversify on multiple platforms, not just one platform, because if something happens with that platform, or let's say something changes on the platform and entirely everything changes, I have lost my business just because I was opened on one platform, and that's a weakness. Okay, so let's move into number 2, no demand creation. Many businesses only capture demand. They wait for people who are already searching. That caps actual growth, right? If you're just looking, so just to give you a little bit more, let me actually draw this up. So we have a little triangle, and that triangle represents market, and we have 3 layers. The first layer is what's known the 3%. We have the second layer, which is known the 37%, and then we have 60%, which is the third layer. The first layer is for people that are buying immediately. So that means the 3%ers, right? The 3% is buying ASAP. They're like, hey, I need a solution immediately. Then we have the 37%, which are buying based on education. right? That I need to be educated about my problem before I make the best possible decision. And then we have the 60%. The 60% is really people that are not future problem aware, okay? So now that you know that, let's keep moving on. So many businesses only capture demand. They wait for people who are already searching, and that is exactly what caps the actual growth. Demand creation means educating the market, reframing the pains, calling out hidden problems, positioning yourself before intent exists, right? Without demand creation, you are always late. So what you need to be and what you need to do, you need to also position yourself as actual authority in your actual market space. And the best way to do that is through actually building content and providing value to your target audience, because that's also is creating demand when actually people are looking to understand what exactly their problem is and how can they actually find a solution to their problem. And once they find somebody like you who has expertise, and you educate them about the problem they have and the solution they can find, they automatically become more attracted to you. And this means you have created also demand in the actual marketplace, which will now help you to scale your business much, much faster. Okay. Number three, which I personally think is super important, probably one of the most important things when you actually are in the business, is to have, they don't have no qualification layer. I personally think that if you're running ads, right, and you're attracting leads, you need to have a qualification layer where you qualify with who you're going to work and who you're not going to work, because this is going to protect your calendar, going to protect your energy, and going to protect your time. I have seen many times many coach consultants and agency owners make the same mistake by opening their calendar to everybody, and then most of the times they're dealing with 90% of time wasters, right? But even if you would have, let's say, though you take those 90% away and you only focus on the 10%, you have gained that 90% of energy that you wasted. You have gained that and you can reinvest that back in the business, right? So inconsistent leads are often not a volume issue, they are a quality issue. When you don't filter revenue levels, readiness, budget, execution ability, and other filters that you probably could suit to your specific niche or industry, then you get no shows, you get ghosting, objections, and let me think about it. And that makes leads feel unreliable, and even if volume is very high, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like most of the times I have seen, like, out of 100% of leads get coming in, they have 90% of time wasters and 10% actually good ones. So when you have a filtering system, you can filter the 90% out, and that 90% of energy is actually stored and you haven't wasted it, and you can reinvest it back inside your business to grow your business. So what a consistent lead system actually looks like, right? The big question. This is why you actually are watching this video and why you're getting educated. A consistent lead system is built on three layers working together, right? Layer number one, demand capture. This is where you show up when people already want help. Example, YouTube content targeting high intent keywords, SEO pages, community posts, strategic comments, right? This layer grows slowly but compounds forever. Layer two, demand creation, right? Demand capture. Layer number two is demand creation, right? This is where most scale happens. Short form content reframing problems, ads calling out bottlenecks, messaging that challenges current strategies. You are not convincing there, you are creating actual awareness, right? And this layer creates actual momentum. And then number three, systemized qualification. This protects your time and stabilizes your revenue, right? Examples, revenue minimums, not for beginners, ad budget filters, execution requirements. The reason you want to do this is super important. I used to not do this because I thought, hey, the more leads we get, the better, because then we will filter themselves on the actual call, which ones are good ones and which are not good ones based on their financial capabilities. But that is not how it works, because sometimes the leads that come on that call are sometimes not even financially capable committing. Sometimes they don't even have the right characteristics to commit. Sometimes they expect you to do all the work. And so in order for you to really find the best possible client that you can use later on as testimonial, is to only filter who you actually want to work with and who you do not want to work with. Because if you open your calendar to everyone, you will actually physically will be and mentally be drained. Okay. So when you have this layer, it removes actual chaos. Together, these three layers turn randomness into actual rhythm, right? So you have demand capture that you can create through YouTube content targeting high intent keywords. You have SEO pages, community posts, and strategic comments. Then we walk through layer two, demand creation, right? Short form content, reframing problems, ads calling out bottlenecks, messaging that challenges current strategies, systemized qualification, right? This protects your time and stabilizes revenue. We have revenue minimums, like for example, you can go revenue minimums like, hey, I'm working with coaches that are doing 5K a minimum, right? You could say not for beginners, ad budget filters, execution requirements, right? Let's move on. Why consistent leads feel calm, not exciting? Here's a very important truth that you will maybe learn later on inside of your business. Consistent leads are very boring, right? They don't feel excited, they feel predictable. And that is exactly what allows you to raise prices. Because once you have consistent demand inside of your business, people looking more to work with you, they're looking more for your solution, and you already have positioned yourself as authority inside of your market, that's when you can start raising your prices, improve the delivery, build a team, and think actual long term. Okay? If your lead flow feels emotional, urgent, or dramatic, you don't have an actual system yet. And you have an actual activity and a high paying job, not an actual business. Because in order for you to call yourself a successful business person, you need to remove yourself from the business in order for that business to start growing. And so then you actually have a business. But once you are working inside of your business and your business is asking the most out of you, you have a high paying job. So the shift that changes absolutely everything. The biggest shift you must make is this: stop trying to get more leads and start trying to remove dependency. Okay? Because once you can remove the dependency, and when I say dependency on certain things, on your mood, your energy, being dependent on one platform, being dependent on that one viral video, when you take that all away and you start to really build the three layers, right? We're building demand capture, demand creation, and systemized qualification. That's when you really will see the big changes happening, right? So moving on, the biggest shift you must make is this: stop trying to get more leads, start trying to remove dependency. And then ask yourself, what happens if I don't post for 7 days? What happens if ads pause? What happens if referrals slow? If everything collapses, then your system is actually fragile. Strong businesses are anti-fragile. You need to think about that. When you have a good business, good foundation in the business, scale that you can scale your business is probably not fragile. It's built on a strong foundation. And sometimes, probably most of the time, I would say about 80% of the time, I see most coach consultants and agency owners that come work with me have fragile systems. They don't really have almost no systems. They're doing everything manually. They're investing their energy, their time, and they base their days based on the motivation and how much time they can put. And this is really what is mentally draining, frustrating them, and making them stressed. Because sometimes they feel like, hey, I feel like this month is about to change because I'm getting more attraction. I got some clients. And then the next 4 or 5 months, they're getting nothing. And this is very mentally draining. So you should be thinking of how you can actually automate and systemize your business so it's actually anti-fragile. And most of all, they don't rely on actual energy. Businesses that are scaling fast are not relying on energy. They rely on actual design and architecture of their actual systems. So the final conclusion that I want you to take before we wrap this video up: inconsistent leads are not marketing problem. They are design problem. When your business is built on clear positioning, predictable demand, strong qualification, and repeatable flow, leads stop feeling stressful. Okay, because then you have all the systems working, right? You have clear positioning in the market, so that means your offering and how you have positioned yourself. You have predictable demand, that means through the three layers, right? You have demand capture, demand creation, and systemized qualification. And then we also have strong qualification, so that means your filtering systems, right? Filtering who you want to work and who you not want to work, and repeatable flow. then leads will stop feeling actually stressful. They will feel more calm, and your business will start to scale as well. They become, because without this, you are just operating within actual noise. Okay. But a real scaling really begins once you have all these four in check, right? You have your clear positioning, predictable demand, strong qualification, and repeatable actual flow. So if you want to grow without panic, pressure, or guessing, you don't need more actual tactics or the strategy or go after the next viral video. You actually need to have a system inside of your business. I hope this really delivered massive amounts of value to you. Now, if you are the coach, consultant, and agency owner, and you really want to build a system like this inside of your business that can be predictably scaled and over a long time will compound and will have a very strong effect forever inside of your business, then we can potentially help you to do that if you are a great fit for us. Now, if you want to find if you're a great fit working with us, and if you are even a great fit, then what we will do, we will install a system inside of your business and we will help you to generate more leads, more sales inside of your business as well. Now, who we usually are looking for coaches, consultants, and agency owners that are currently anywhere between 5 to 10K per month, selling above 2K offer. If that's you and this sounds interesting, then all you need to do in the description, you can actually schedule a call with us. And once you schedule a call, you will be connected to my team or myself. We'll walk you through step by step what the system actually is, how would it actually be installed inside of your business, how would your business operate once you have the system inside of your business, what would actually change, and if you're a great fit, like really great fit, we will also give you a guarantee on top of that as well. But if this all sounds interesting, then go ahead and schedule that call with the link down in the description. Otherwise, I hope this really delivered massive amounts of value and you can use this inside of your business.